Lyla wants me to say, welcome to Dwayne's cooking show. But today, I'm going to show you, if you want to learn, how to make bread. White Newfoundland traditional bread. So, first step, come over to me, Lyla. You're going to need a big pot of water. In this big pot of water, we're going to add some butter. And what we're doing, we're going to turn on low heat, which you can see it's currently on, just really low. And we're going to let the butter melt in that water. We're going to need that in a few minutes. You can be generous here. I basically use, you can see this chunks, the size of them, several tablespoons. I'm just going to let that melt. Now, the other thing we're going to do before we can do anything else is get our yeast prepped. I use traditional yeast. And in here we have the yeast and the sugar as per the instructions. But I'm making a double batch, which is why you see so much in there. Then I'm going to add the lukewarm water and let that activate before we touch the flour. So you have warm water, we add it to the mix. And now we're going to get a clean spoon. See, a little spoon. And we're going to gently just swirl it around, mix it up, fill the little pieces back down. This is the part where Stephanie detests the loud dinging noise of me sliding it all back in. All right, now just leave that, don't touch it anymore. And now you can see we have flour. So what we have to add to our flour is some salt. Now, in traditional Newfoundland style, I cannot tell you how much flour is in here. The way it was instructed to me was to get a flour pan. But this is really a dish pan that we bought years ago. But what you can see in our dish pan is that there's a line. And I was literally instructed to fill the flour to the line. So that doesn't help at all. I get that. I'll actually measure it one day and tell you the precise quantity. But right now, I cannot do that. So this is just traditional Robin Hood's, the original white flour. Now I was short a little bit, which is why you see our pizza flour, the 00 out. This is finer than what I'd like to use, but there's very little of that in here. This is more like the reserve, just in case I make it a little bit too sticky, that I need to add a little bit more flour to make my dough work. So I usually just make a well for the sake of doing it. You don't have to do this. What we want to do right now is to add salt. And I was taught to fill the palm of your hand, which is another vague amount of salt. But as you can see, fill it with the palm of your hand, and then sprinkle it around, and then gently just mix it through the flour. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our yeast, very carefully come over to the flour.
And you're gonna dump it right in.
You got it. There we go. Dumped in. Now, before I touch anything else, one more thing. Guess what it is?
Water.
Nope.
Wash hands.
You got it. Yep. In this part, I tend to dump quite a bit of water in before I even start mixing. But then, I don't dump it all in. I come over and I get some more warm water. And fill it back up a bit because we might need some more. And once you start mixing, you're going to see it's not so easy just to stop because your hands are going to become full of. What do you think, Lyla? Full of? What's in here?
Flour?
You got it, but look what happens.
It's sticky.
It's going to become extremely sticky.
After when you're done mixing it up, you're gonna have to wash your hands really good.
Mm-hmm. Now, and carefully so I don't make a big
mess.
You got it. So all I'm doing is just carefully working to try to start to form.
I have one question. What if you spill some?
I have done that. You had to be careful, move slowly for this part. If you move really fast, it's all fine particles of, you think, flour like dust. You make a big mess. So all I'm doing now is trying to get some off my hands so I can get some more water in here because there's a lot of, you can see here, a lot of show them. There's lots of flour in here that needs
to be
the water.
Well, yeah.
So pick it up carefully.
And add some more water down there.
Yeah, and now we just do a little bit by bit. We don't add too much because if we do, we'll have to add more flour.
And it'll probably overflow.
It could, but I don't have any extra flour. So basically, Lyla hit stop record, the other part of our video. And the part she stopped at was more or less the final pieces. We had mixed together the flour to form the dough. And then what we wanted to do was take it out of that pan in order to clean it using just paper towel or your hands to wipe off the excess dough, throw it in the garbage, and then you get some margarine and you line that pan with another piece of paper towel, and then take the dough and push it back into the container, which we then bring out here in front of the fireplace. So it's already been covered up and it's just resting, and it'll do so for about 45 minutes to an hour. It just depends on the temperature, how warm it is. And what we'll do is I'll come back and show you how to knead it when it rises and when it's ready. Hi, welcome back. So now you can see that the bread has risen because the towels are all pushed up. Sometimes you can let it rise a bit higher, but for the first time we're going to knead it down. This is okay. So what we're going to do is just carefully pull back the towels. Now you can see we have bread dough that has risen. So now we're going to knead it down. And this is how you do it. You basically, I just grab the corners, pull it in, and push it down. If you come close enough, you can actually hear the air coming out of it. Watch. So now it's collapsed. I don't knead it a whole lot. I just fold it in and then gently pick it up, carefully turn it over. And now we're going to let it rest again. Take our towels, cover it back up, tuck it down the back, and then we just let it rest. All right, as you can see, we've got each of our pans filled with buns. The last thing we do before we cover them up is just a little knuckle punch. You're just pressing it down, not hard. This one has 4. You can make them any shapes, and just try to keep the sizes mostly consistent in each pan. So you can see some are bigger, some are smaller. I already did that one.
No, you didn't.
And in here, what's left over is a big ball of dough that we use that, where I'm from, we call toutons, or you make fried bread. So we'll take this, we'll pull off little sections, and we'll fry them in a pan to have for dinner tonight. This stuff is absolutely fantastic. Now that's a lot to have for toutons, but the kids like it so much that I'll make sure we have enough to go around. So we're going to cover this with towels. We're going to let this rise in the pans for about half an hour or so before we put them in the oven. So when you see us next, we'll be baking them on 350, and it takes about an hour or so per batch. But we'll show you more just in a few minutes. One batch is complete, and this is the final product. It smells as good as it looks. There's another batch you can see cooking. Takes about 45 minutes to an hour to get to this stage from the beginning. Basically put it in and forget about it. Because it's cooking at 350, it's okay if you leave it a little bit longer. You're basically looking for the golden brown, especially on the bottom. When it's done, then the next thing to do is to butter the tops and just let it rest.